Hello everybody, this is Bob Morton with his birthday party roast response. I've been telling a couple people that I was going to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and get this done. And this is kind of in response to the fact that whoever was involved in it, Joe or everybody, you guys sat me in the corner with a couple of buckets of Heineken, and by the time it was my turn to respond to everybody, I had some ideas, but by the time I got up there, I could not respond to them. So here's my best attempt to it. First of all, this is really just a thank you video, thanking everybody that had anything to do with this party and everybody that showed up. It was great. Obviously, Barb put this together, and she had a lot of help from Eric and Scott and everybody else, and Lori and Tom and everybody else. And I just want to thank everybody for who worked so hard to make this happen. It was a lot of fun, and we ought to do more of these in the future because there's a lot of material out there. I'm just going to kind of start to the room to the left and kind of try to respond to everybody as I pictured it. Obviously Barb, started it off, and I thought everybody was very funny, and she mentioned the fact that I had broken my arm, and a lot of things were said about the TV show Snapped. The main reason I broke my arm is that I was just surprised by the fact that the floor had been mopped. That's not a big usual case in our house, and just the fact that the floor was wet was a big surprise, and that's why I was not used to it, and slipped and fell. Also, Barb has made some comments that I had said that I would not have sex after I was 50. That's not exactly what I said. I said me and her would not have sex after we were 50, after I was 50. So that's not exactly true. Kind of going around the room, Joe and Julie, Joe, I'm glad you're there. We share the same birthday, and I'm sure you had something to do with the Heineken and the buckets. And I'm glad you brought your beautiful wife, Julie. And I'm very especially glad that Julie brought her girls with her. They're always a welcome guest to the party. So that was nice. The Vanda Bosses are dear friends of ours. Randy made a very poetic attempt at the balcony story, as I said, but basically it was just one person not knowing the other person that well, and him threatening to throw him off a balcony, and the other guy running for his life. That's basically the way that went. But Krista mentioned later on that why couldn't we just have a barbecue or something like that? Generally, when we invite the Vanda Bosses to a party, or dinner anyway, we try to have it somewhere else, because if you invite them over for dinner, then you got to make sure you have breakfast foods in the refrigerator, because they're going to be there for breakfast, that's for sure. And as of always, they are welcome in our house anytime for dinner and breakfast, especially since they have moved down south, so you always have a place to stay here. Kenny and Marilyn, I think Marilyn, we talked about it enough that we always have a special prayer for you. I mean, at night when people pray, especially I pray, you can't include everybody in their prayers, but I always include you in my prayers, keeping Kenny in mind. And I did mention that I was glad Kenny was there, because it didn't make me feel so old and senile. And also that I wasn't sure that Kenny was aware of this, but during the intermissions, actually Randy and myself were going out and feeding and watering Kenny's horse, so that's a good thing. And just in case Kristen didn't think I got the reference to 50 Cent, the rapper, he has nothing on Kenny as far as bling goes, so I'm all on top of that thing. So let's see, who was next? Just Kristen, we'll stay with you for a second. I think you did mention that sometimes when husbands of relatives or husbands of friends go out of town, I do tell their wives that, hey, I'm here for you if there's anything I can do. You were just the first one to ever take me up on that so strongly, and I actually had to refuse you. So I have to keep that in mind, you know. So let's see. Krista, you know, you were pretty nice to me, actually. You know, the only thing I can say about you, you know, I see that you had your usual puffy hairdo, your poof, I call it. You know, usually the only time that hairdo changes is when you take a shower or get it wet. Other than that, it's pretty much the poof, and that's nice. I feel like I really roasted you the most in life, because I actually told you about 14 years ago in that pool hall that Randy would make a great husband. So, you know, the roast is on you, if you know what I'm saying. So, we'll go from there. Let's go back to the back of the room for a minute. Mehdi, you said so many nice things about me. You know, you're my Iranian friend, and you work with me, and because of all the nice things, I've actually upgraded you from terrorist to friend. So that's good. That's a good thing. We'll keep that in mind. Let's see. Let's go ahead and jump up to Randy. Randy, you know, what can I say? You had a lot of stuff. So, you know, obviously the pictures, we were the Beverly Hillbillies basically growing up. The pictures you had were great. I think some of the pictures point out that, you know, you were a very needy child, because, like you said, I was like a brother to you. But as you can see in some of the pictures, I actually had to be kind of like a sister to you, too. You were so needy. So, you know, that's the way that goes. The accent was great. You sounded like Don Corleone. In our family, growing up in our family, was a lot like the Godfathers, because God only knows who our fathers were. So that's interesting. Let's see. Lori, I can't say a lot about you. You know, I don't have a lot of roasting material on you. You're just, you're pretty clean at this point, so we're going to have to dig a little deeper. And Tom, we beat the hot dog thing around pretty hard. We batted that thing around pretty hard. I think a couple things to point out was that that I didn't mention were that, you know, actually during your move from the South Florida resort to Daytona, there was a 2 or 3 week period, 3 or 4 week period where you didn't come by my store every morning, where I almost lost my job because my boss actually called me up and said, "Why did your hot dog sales drop so much?" And you know, I had to try to explain that, and of course, and within a few weeks, you were coming from the Wacabe area to Daytona, stopping by every morning, and of course, my hot dog sales soared again. So, you know, I just told my boss it was basically good management, so that worked out really well. And Lori, in reference to that, I really wouldn't worry about Tom, the demise of Tom being from hot dogs. I mean, it's really his driving that is going to be the thing that that might be questionable. You know, where Chevy and Chrysler and everybody else is filing bankruptcy, you know, Tom is single-handedly made Ford very sound by buying a new Mustang every 6 months. So that's a good thing. Let's see, what else do we have? Scott, you did a great job as a MC and a host. You did allude a couple times to my French dog, John John. And yeah, we are turning a little French, I guess. I think, keep in mind, you mentioned that early on, especially, John used to bite and snap at you a lot, but I would keep in mind that John doesn't bite or snap at anybody, that Barb hasn't taught him to do that, so you might want to work on your relationship with your mother-in-law a little bit. And Erica, let's see, sweet Erica, you talked about all the life lessons that I taught you, and that's great that you remember all that, the porch talks and the lessons that I tried to teach you. I think the lessons that I tried to teach you that you didn't learn are the more important ones sometimes, and I hope you're still working on those. That would be like driving, for instance. You're right behind Tom in that avenue as far as accidents. Let me see, taking a shower in under an hour. Let's see, what else? Cooking. But there's a couple there, and you might want to work on those. Let's see. I think that's about it. Really, as I said early on, this is just a thank you to everybody for showing up. It was nice to have everybody there. I think everybody that put the effort forth, it certainly was the best birthday party that I ever had. I would make a couple suggestions that next time everybody don't carpool. Even couples drive your separate cars, so that when I pull in the lot, I see more than 7 cars in the lot. It makes me feel a lot better. I think that's it about now. I just want to thank everybody, and hopefully I'll see you at the next roast. Thanks.